You walk past the enclosure and your bearded dragon lifts one front leg into the air. It moves slowly. A small, almost graceful circle like a tiny royal salute. It looks like your dragon is waving hello. That is the moment most owners fall in love with the behavior. And also the moment most of us start to misread it. Because that wave is not a greeting, it is a signal. And once you understand what your dragon is actually saying with that lifted arm, you start to see your enclosure, your routine, and even your own reflection in the glass a little differently. Bearded dragons do not communicate the way dogs and cats do. They do not bark, purr, or come running to the door. They use posture, color, head movement, and small physical gestures. And the slow circular arm lift is one of the most well-known. The problem is that the wave looks human. It looks like a hello. It is small, soft, and weirdly polite. So our brain finishes the sentence before the dragon does. We see the lift and we hear hello. But your dragon did not learn that arm motion from watching you. The slow circular arm lift shows up in young bearded dragons that have never met a person. It shows up in dragons raised alone around mirrors, around other dragons, around large pets walking past, and sometimes during handling. That is a clue. The wave is not built around us. We are just one of the many things in the room that can trigger it. Among bearded dragons sharing space, that slow arm lift is often described as a submissive display, a way of saying, I see you, I am not a threat, please don't escalate. Imagine two dragons in the same enclosure. The bigger one might do a sharp, fast head bob, a clear claim of territory. The smaller one might respond with the slow, circular arm lift. This is why the wave is often treated as a sign of awareness, not friendliness. Your dragon noticed something and wanted to signal something back. Now bring that into your living room. A single bearded dragon in a glass enclosure. No other dragons in the home. Why does it wave? Look at the glass. Many dragons can see their own reflection, especially when the room is brighter than the inside of the tank, or when the basking lamp catches the panel just right. To your dragon, that reflection can read as another dragon staring back. So the wave may not be aimed at you at all. It may be aimed at the dragon-shaped figure in the glass. A stranger that never blinks, never leaves, and never backs down. The same logic extends to other pets. A dog walking up to the enclosure. A cat jumping onto a nearby shelf. A vacuum moving across the floor. A child running through the room. Your dragon is small in that moment. Whatever just appeared is large, fast, or unfamiliar. The slow arm lift can show up as a calm acknowledgement of something bigger in the environment. It is not panic. It is not dramatic fear. It is closer to a quiet I see you, and I'd rather not have a problem. That is why the wave often appears in dragons that otherwise look completely relaxed. It is one of the more peaceful messages in the bearded dragon vocabulary. This is the part owners care about most. If the wave is a kind of submissive or aware of you signal, what does it mean when your dragon waves at you? It does not mean your dragon dislikes you. It does not mean your dragon is in serious distress. In many cases, it simply means your dragon noticed your movement and registered you as the larger presence in that moment. This is especially common when you walk up to the tank quickly, when you reach in from above, or when your hand appears suddenly near the glass. The wave can be a small, polite acknowledgement, you are big, I am here, let's both stay calm. This is where the wave stops looking like a hello and starts looking like a conversation about space size and presence. Age matters too. Young bearded dragons wave a lot, far more than most adults. A juvenile in a new enclosure may wave at almost everything. Your hand, the food tongs, a sibling in a separate tank, even shadows on the wall. That is partly because young dragons are smaller, more vulnerable, and still figuring out their environment. Submissive signaling is safer when you are tiny. As dragons grow and feel more secure in their setup, the waving usually becomes less frequent. If your adult dragon waves now and then, that is normal. If your juvenile waves often during the first few months in a new home, that is also normal. The behavior tends to settle as your dragon learns the rhythm of your household. A wave on its own is rarely something to worry about. But like any bearded dragon behavior, it should be read in context. So when you see the wave, look at the whole dragon. Is the body relaxed and rounded or flattened against the surface? Is the beard a normal color or darkening? Is the head calm or doing the quick up and down head movement? Is your dragon basking normally, eating normally, and using both the warm and cool sides of the enclosure? If the wave appears in a dragon that otherwise looks healthy and relaxed, it is most likely a normal social signal. If the wave appears alongside flattening a darkening beard, repeated hiding, loss of appetite, or unusual lethargy, that is a different picture, and that combination is worth taking seriously. When something feels off, the first move is not to interpret the wave. It is to check the basics. Look at your basking temperature. Look at your UVB bulb, how old it is, where it sits, whether it is the right type for your enclosure, a new piece of furniture near the enclosure, a new pet in the home, a mirror moved to a different wall. Any of these can change what your dragon sees and how often it signals. If the unusual signs continue, or if you notice multiple changes at once, contact a reptile veterinarian. The wave itself is not a medical sign, but the bigger picture around it sometimes is. The enclosure is part of the behavior, not just the background. Once you start watching the wave with this lens, your dragon's behavior gets easier to read. A wave near the glass on a bright morning, with a relaxed body and a normal beard, is probably your dragon noticing its reflection. A wave when you walk up quickly is probably your dragon registering your size and movement. A wave when the dog walks past is probably your dragon acknowledging another presence in the room. None of those moments are sad. None of them mean your dragon is suffering. They are small, honest pieces of communication from an animal that does not have many ways to talk to us. Here is where the bond layer comes in. Your dragon may not be saying hello, but it is paying attention. It is noticing you, your movements, your routine, the shape of your hand near the glass. Over time, with repeated calm handling and a predictable routine, many dragons show fewer big stress signals around their owner. The wave may still appear now and then, especially around reflections or sudden movement, but the rest of the body language gets quieter. Less flattening, less darkening of the beard, less hiding. That is not love in the human sense. It is something simpler and in its own way just as meaningful. Your dragon has learned that you in this room are part of a safe routine. So, the wave is not a hello. It is a small ancient signal about size, awareness, and space. It can come from a reflection in the glass, another animal in the room, a sudden movement, or your own approach to the enclosure. That does not make the wave less special. It makes it more interesting. Because every time your dragon waves, it is telling you that it noticed something and chose a peaceful way to say so. Your job is not to wave back. Your job is to ask a better question. The next time your dragon does the slow circular arm lift, pause for a moment before you react. Look around the room. Check the glass for reflections. Notice where you are standing, how fast you walked up, and whether another pet is nearby. Then ask yourself the question that changes everything. What is my dragon looking at right now? Watch this for a week. Track when the wave shows up, what is in the room when it happens, and how the rest of the body looks. You will start to see a pattern, and that pattern will tell you more about your dragon than any single behavior on its own. The wave is not a greeting. It is a small invitation to pay closer attention. And bearded dragons reward that kind of attention more than most owners realize.